for me, it reset to 480, so I had to kind of reset it back to.
Oh yeah, no. So it took me 3 tries to get into StreamYard this morning because it wouldn't see my OBS camera. What did you just do to your hat?
I don't know. I'm looking at myself here, and then it's like it weirdly kind of like it just like did this. Like what the heck? Like I'm raising an
Like
eyebrow with the hat.
e-
No, not doing that
every
there.
day, like I get all set up for the camera. I go to the mirror. I've got my cap at a rakish angle. I think I look like this, and then I look in the camera and like, oh, but I look like this, and
Yeah, and I
that's
look
not
like I'm
great.
freezing. That's pretty much what it looks like. Welcome back to the North Pole because we are.
Hey, because we're California thin
Yeah,
bloods, and it got to like 50 degrees.
actually, that's true. Yeah, last night was not that cold. Or
It
overnight, it
wasn't
wouldn't
that
didn't go down
bad.
to 35. But
I was
I wake
I
up in
was
the morning
real.
and I was like,
Oh, I'm
putting
not
on the
getting out of
sweaters.
my comforter. It's so cozy in bed.
And I'm really disappointed. My PC back wait, hold on. My PC back there, which typically warms this room like it's going out of style, is not
Yeah.
up to the task. Like I'm running games, I'm running system, everything. It's not blowing enough hot air to keep this room warm.
If
So
only
yeah,
I were there in the room with you, because then I would be blowing enough hot air to keep
absolutely.
keep you
There's a
toasty. My
it takes a
Christmas
certain
gift
type.
to you.
You.
I'm a giver,
Oh my
so
God. Well,
it's in this
Merry,
holiday spirit.
happy early holidays to everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. We are back at it again with another episode of the best of our
Hmm.
week. This is we're etching on to 100 episodes. I'm actually really excited to kind of see how. I can't believe we're almost at 100, man. It's like
I
I
know.
feel like we just started a couple of days ago. Well, not a couple of days, but like at least a few months ago. But like
It's
lo and
that
behold,
crazy like passage of time, and I mean this in that like you're one of my best friends on the planet. That
dude,
like it
absolutely,
feels like
as you
I
are as well, of
just
course.
met you, and it also feels like God, I've been with TK forever. You
Dude,
know, like
no, no.
it's
Speaking of,
like both in my brain at the same time.
it is. And so a couple of days ago, but for the last couple of weeks, I've been going through a lot of cleanup. I don't know if you guys could see, but the wall is gone. I've decided to take away the wall from the back here, just kind of changing a little bit of the structure and bringing up, of course, Goku, our buddy, our favorite guy that doesn't never shows
Hmm.
up to the show. I always send an invite.
No, he's a good
Um,
guy.
I f- I found the phone that the launch event of the phone that you and I first met at, which is obviously the Honor 8. This was in San Francisco.
Hey,
I
love
mean, this was like I'm
it.
saying, like face to face meeting,
That's our
Mr.
phone.
Bagnall, exactly. And like of all the phones
That's
as I
the
was
phone that
packing,
cemented our relationship.
absolutely, I was at that day
You
that I
had
told
me at
Juan,
hello, TK. You
I
had
know
me
the
at hello.
bridge. I know that bridge, Juan. I know where you're down the street from where I live, Juan. That's how it was.
I love it.
Cheers to that. Um, I found my TCL mugs from our last excursion with TCL at the theater,
Oh,
and
good
I
deal.
took one of their
Yeah.
I took one of their cups. So like, I'm like, hey, Sony likes
Yeah, that's
TCL.
great.
Okay, good. Hashtag
I
not
stole one of
sponsored
their
by
wine
Sony.
glasses. Those are
No,
really nice wine glasses. I don't
no,
know
I know.
why I did it. It was just like they're
I
like, yeah,
felt
you can take
bad.
these things, and I was like, okay, I'm taking
I,
this wine glass, and
I
it was a
like a
joke because I didn't
souvenir.
think they meant
Yeah,
like
yeah, no,
the
no.
glassware, but
They I'm
they
assuming they
said,
do that on purpose. Like this is like the little thing, kind of you take it with you. But these are definitely very nice, so I'm very happy with that. Um, I will say before we go too far, do you have your Sony?
yes, are we doing Sony Watch
Let's do Sony Watch. Let's just get it out of the
next
way because every time we
time on
remember it,
Sony
it's at the end of the show.
Watch?
So we have our
Yeah,
Xperia
okay,
1 Mark IV. Yep, Sony loves it. Let's
right
see. Do we
there.
have Android 30?
Panasonic went
Come on.
down.
Hold on. Let's go back one more time. I'm going to try.
Software
I'm going to go out all the
update.
way. Support. And I don't want any
Nope.
data.
I'm a big nope.
And
Here,
no, no.
I'm gonna
Okay.
throw mine through a reboot while we're doing the show, and I'll check one more
Yeah.
time just to
Actually, that's
refresh
not a bad
everything.
idea. I will join you on the reboot. Uh,
But
one thing
no,
I.
I mean, what's funny is like there have been a few folks, and I think mostly international, but I
Mhm.
believe a good chunk of the planet is already getting Android 13 on the One Mark III, and
Oh,
we still have yet to get it on the One Mark IV.
okay.
So,
You say certain things, my friend, that make me want to grab a certain device out of my drawer that just happens to be right here.
oh
Z1 Mark
hey,
III. So let's boot that guy up and see.
see,
I mean, if the one Mark
I
III gets it,
I leapfrogged. I only have the One Mark II behind me, so I can't. I can't. I mean, I'm
wh-
not expecting the One Mark II to ever get Android 13, and I'm kind of fine with that.
they surprised us with the last one, right? Didn't they do? Didn't they upgrade the first one to Android 12 last year? But it was
I
like
don't
pretty
remember.
late. and also we were like the
Yeah.
last region to get it. That
We were
was
the last of a late update. Yeah.
yeah, it's like welcome to the club, but yeah, the club is already closing. No, I mean I will say this much.
We got in for
Looks
last
like
call.
well,
I
I
love it.
like this one. Maryland's jumping in with like TK looks like he's in Alaska. I did move the studio to Alaska from California to Alaska, same time zone.
It's a
Figured
good
we'd be
remote link
okay.
that you got. It's really impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's on top of a really tall, really old oak tree. I don't know if there's oak trees in Alaska, and if somebody does want to correct me, please do so. Let me
Interesting.
see real quick. I just rebooted it,
Yeah. No
and
go on me. It just fired
no,
back up.
yeah, for me, I'm
No
just getting like
Android 13. I
no
don't
13 love.
sigh. Let's sigh,
Okay,
Sony.
nope. And I will give this one. Okay, so we'll do this, and then we'll just
Oh,
close.
I bet you your One Mark III doesn't have it yet either. What I'm saying is it's probably out for like all of your Eurozone, and
Um,
we're waiting
okay,
on it
hold
there
on.
too.
I do have an update, but I don't know if it's just a delayed update or what.
You
It's
just
only
haven't fired
300.
it up in a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you have the One Mark IV, obviously, I'm not going to rock One Mark IV, One Mark III running like, hey, let me see. I'm going to be
Yeah,
running it so hard on with Sony. It's just going to be so. Yeah, no, I
I'll
think this
rock
is
with
just a
Sony.
stand.
You know how we do.
Well, we rock with a lot of clubs. Actually, we're going to talk about that a little bit this week. It's an exciting week. I'll say this.
Mm-hmm.
Last week we had the first two devices coming out with the Gen 2. Well, actually, last week and this week. So last week we had iQOO coming up with the 11. We also had the Dimensity 8200 coming in with the I think the Neo, the other iQOO device, and obviously Juan has his BMW right there with the stripes. A few days later, Vivo announced the X90 Pro Plus. I think was a
X90
Chinese
Pro
market,
Plus in China.
China
Yeah.
only. Also
We have a
featuring the
couple
Gen 2.
friends who are
Got their
already have
hands
it
on it.
on order. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it should be
I
coming in soon for a number of American reviewers.
I imagine it's a very exciting device. I saw Ben from Giving the
Yeah,
Guys Review. He was in Japan because if he was here, dude, I would have driven straight down to his place, man. I was like stalking him like further.
just like
I was like,
hammering on his door.
Hey Ben, are you done? Are you done? Can I
Hey
have?
Ben,
I'm just
hey
kidding.
Ben, hey Ben.
Um, no, I know, but I do miss. I do need to actually hang out with Ben a little bit too. He's moving to LA, so it's really nice to have
Oh, right on.
more tech reviewers in
I didn't know he
our
was gonna be
neighborhood.
moving out here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
Oh,
some
that's
kind of
great.
family thing going on, and I mean, I ran into him in Germany with the Xiaomi event. So we talked a while back, and he was like, "Yeah, we're looking like we're going to be moving over, not permanently. Like I think he's still going to keep
Yeah, but
both,
that'd be
but I
great to
think
have him out here for a while. Yeah, that'd be
there'll be
cool.
abilities of ours to have to hang out. But yeah, I saw his video. Looks really nice. Very excited to see what Vivo's doing and kicking off 2023 in
I mean,
2022.
it's after my experiences with the Xiaomi 12s Ultra on this image sensor, he was showing off shots in Japan that right alongside a Pixel 7 Pro,
Yeah, of course.
that sensor
Yeah.
size advantage with Vivo's crazy HDR processing, where normal shots from the Vivo were going head to head with things that would have been like night sight shots
Hmm.
on the Pixel in near the same kind of instant shutter button burst kind of capture. Like this is the combo I've really been waiting for this type of ease of use HDR and low light processing. I
Hmm.
think the
Yeah.
Xiaomi's like color processing is probably going to stay a little bit more authentic. I like what Leica's doing there, but this Leica versus Zeiss fight is really the most exciting fight in smartphone cameras right now.
I would pay money to just sit there and enjoy this type of show. I mean, seriously,
Oh yeah.
it's exciting. It's making me just look forward to everything that's going to be coming out from Vivo, coming out from Xiaomi. I also want to, I definitely appreciate, again, I'm a few generations behind. I'm still on the X70 Pro Plus, but I love
You're
that
not
device. I
that
mean,
far
seriously,
behind. Let me tell
I'm
you,
not that
you're
far.
doing pretty good.
I use that as literally my B-roll camera for everything, and it
Yeah.
just performs like a champ. There's no question. Vivo color science and camera science, especially with Zeiss when we're talking about optics, it's been
Hmm.
years ahead, and now it's just basically literally like in fine aged wine, just keeps getting better every year. So I'm excited, and I can't wait to see some of our friends as well. Hey, Jermaine's in the tag, in the chat as well. Been talking to him as well.
Hmm.
Hope everybody's doing well. I know we're actually, I don't know if we're probably going to stick to Friday mornings, but I know we've been doing it for the last couple of weeks, a few weeks like that, and I hope you guys enjoy the timeline, the timestamp. I think I would say it a little bit better. But one, I want to say this. I want to get this out of the
Oh,
question. You got the most
yes.
exciting thing of everything. I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of tech going on.
Yeah,
But
no,
to see
let me
Juan
tell
revert
you,
to a 10-year-old version of himself
this
is
is
priceless.
probably the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my entire life. A very good friend of mine hooked me up with this awesome Steam Deck dock. That's not what you were
Dude,
going
I
for.
know it's not what I was. I'm like,
No,
I should
I
draw
actually
pictures. Like,
just before
I
we
should
do
draw a
that,
picture that does. You know,
I just want to throw a shout out because like this is like little kid Juan Christmas is game consoles and Transformers. That
dude,
my
no, no,
buddy
no.
TK got me this awesome Steam Deck dock, and
Absolutely,
then my
yes.
buddy
I
Andrew
remember.
got me a really nice case for the dock
Nice.
that has like more of a container in it
Yeah,
than the
yeah, yeah. I know our
Steam
Steam
Deck
Deck has
case.
a massive hole on the outside. I felt like it should have been on the inside, but
I know,
the
right?
case
It's like
it's functional. I don't get me wrong, it's
it's a
functional,
good
especially with
case,
the
but
Nreal glasses that you have. That
yeah,
had a perfect fit for it. That's how I carried it.
it's
Uh,
excellent.
yeah.
But you're right, it would be better as carry space. But anyway, I was gaming on this late last night after I got done with some ridiculous shoots at like midnight. And I got to break in the dock. So that's not what you're
Peace.
really talking
No,
about,
no.
though.
Let's go to the real,
So
excitement level.
I just want to set the stage real quick. Hold on, I got these out so I can kind of dress this up even a little bit more. These are my Optimus Prime Transformer
Okay,
sunglasses.
you
So
do
you're gonna
that,
get to
and I'm
see the
gonna set up the stage
reflection,
right here. Give you
everything in
center stage
here.
for everything.
Um, Optimus Prime is directly responsible for the entire trajectory of my life.
I
It
I
was,
I agree. I mean, at least on my side as well. I grew up with Optimus, and I think I still even have some of the old '80s versions of the toys
oh
with the
yeah.
truck and the Transformers
So
somewhere. Yeah.
I have this is the reissue because it's out of the box. In a storage unit, I have an OG Optimus Prime, but like
Yeah.
this is one of the reissues that I just use
Oh,
as set
I
dressing.
would keep that with you, man. I want to see the scale factor on that one. I think
Oh,
that'll be
I will show it because I also have the anniversary edition, the really big diecast.
oh, no, yeah, yeah.
But when I say Optimus Prime is directly responsible for the entire trajectory of my life, I mean in that when I was a little kid, I was watching an episode of Knight Rider, and it was the evil car, Karr, that
Hmm.
was fighting Kit, the good car.
The
So it
good
was
car.
bad car versus good car, and the voice was crazy familiar to me. And so again, these are all reruns. I'm just a little bit, I was a little too young to watch this all like first run. And it snaps like at the end of the episode, that's the voice of Optimus Prime. The voice of Optimus Prime is in this evil car, and he plays a good guy as a semi in Transformers. And something in my little kid brain kind of broke where, oh, it's not really a talking car. I mean, I know it's not really a talking car. TV
Yeah, yeah.
isn't real, but like that's someone's job. He just goes to different vehicles and makes different voices for different cars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Obviously, it was more complicated than that. So that individual's name is Peter Cullen. He is like one of the most prestigious voice actors of any generation. And this is his voiceover reel on reel-to-reel tape. So this is like one of the crown jewels of my collection of Optimus Prime memorabilia. But it
Oh,
was
wow.
basically that was the seed that got planted that set the whole course of my life through science and technology, going
Hmm.
into audio and acoustics, going into recording, later into voiceover direction and casting. Like if that idea hadn't happened when I was a little kid, I literally wouldn't be where I am today. And so Optimus Prime has become like my spirit animal for basically everything that I've ever done. And then the flip side of that is Soundwave is my favorite bad guy
I was
because he's
about
all
to
about
jump into
sound.
this. Like, so how did Soundwave jump into this? Because if you're jumping on Optimus, I mean, obviously, Soundwave had to play
So
something with some sound guy.
my spirit animal Autobot is Optimus Prime. My spirit animal Decepticon is Soundwave, so I have a good yin and yang.
Like, you gotta,
That's
yeah, you
the
gotta keep them.
preamble to get into. There's a new Robosen. Robosen is a robotics manufacturer that makes a bunch of very premium, very expensive STEAM and STEM programming toys,
Hmm.
and they have a license with Transformers. So they just recently came out with what they call the flagship Optimus, and there's like also an accessory trailer. It's
Yeah.
huge. It's $1,000 robot.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They reached out to me just to kind of send the press release, and we're like, hey, I kind of explained everything that I was into about Optimus Prime, and I never heard back from them. I never got a reply, never got anything. I was like, okay, well, that's fine. Literally a couple days ago, this just shows up out of the blue. And this is the Robosen Elite Optimus Prime. This is the smaller of the two Optimus Primes, but it's exactly the same articulation. It just has a smaller shell and a smaller battery.
Hmm.
So this is a $700 Optimus Prime, and
And by
we're
comparison, as you can see,
gonna fire him up.
Juan's hand and right there, like it's actually a lot bigger than it looks like on the table.
Oh,
Let's just say
I
that.
didn't. Let me see if I can get it.
You boot.
Power
Okay.
button. There we go. Love it so much. I'm going to turn off my noise reduction here so maybe we can hear him a little bit better.
Yeah.
So this is a fully drivable, fully articulated, self-transforming Optimus Prime, and I did a little just unboxing video, and I'm reading through the instructions, and I'm reading it out loud, and he starts responding to me. I had no idea that he was this voice command and articulated. Optimus Prime. Hey, Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Transform.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! What that? Right.
And
Oh,
now,
he transforms backwards. So he stands
so
up.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
so he has to flip around. So his arms actually do like fold in. So his
Mm-hmm.
hands fold in to make the tail lights, and then these parts of his chest flip to the side so that his hands can tuck in, just like on the show. But the whole thing
Oh,
has to work with the way his feet articulate. That
yeah.
his waist has to swivel 180.
Well, yeah, because at
So
that last bit, you could see him tilted slightly to the back. I was like thinking,
yep.
wait, he's not centered straight up. But then when he turned, he
And
adjusted. You're
then
right.
he kind of lives. Like he has like little movements when he's just standing still. You can hear
Oh,
the little servos like going. He's kind of like
yeah.
floating and moving and stuff like that. This is so flipping cool. So this is
Ah,
Optimus against G1 Optimus. Optimus
it's like baby.
against
It's like mini me Optimus right there.
Armada Optimus.
Hey, look
And
at
then let me
that.
get diecast. So this was the for its time the biggest Optimus that I had ever played with or I'd ever seen. And
Oh
so this
yeah,
is the
see that? Yeah.
anniversary diecast Optimus. And like he's just dwarfed. He's even just a little bit bigger than my Unicron, but I can't pull my Unicron down off the top of the shelf without knocking a whole bunch of stuff over.
Then the gadget lab will have to be redone if that came down. But no, yeah, you can
Right?
see his arms, man. He's moving. Yeah, he's doing more of like a breathing movement kind of thing, like just
Here's
subtle.
here's from the most recent Netflix series,
Ah,
Optimus. That if you want to kind of see.
did you ever get into Primal, Optimus Primal, the
I
Beast
like
series?
Beast Wars.
Because it
That
looks like that's
I
going to be part of the movie coming out. I don't know if you saw the
yeah, the
trailer.
new. I'm really anxious to see how they pull off Beast Wars. Oh,
He's doing a dab. Is that what we're doing now?
I think so. I
You
don't know
said
what he
Beast
just
Wars.
said.
Dab.
But oh no,
Okay.
oh no! I just lost one of his hands. I'll go get that later.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's not climb that thing
G1
right now.
Optimus has a problem standing up straight. He always like arches backwards, so he falls over.
This
Hey
guy
Optimus.
is.
Hey Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Megatron.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hey Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Attack.
Prepare for battle.
So he's duking it out basically, like boop boop. Bop,
Yeah,
bop, I-
he's thrown
He's
hands,
throwing
man.
some
He's
punches, dude. No, dude, this
I
is
love it.
like, yeah.
So
I
yeah,
don't get. It's oh my god. I'm jumping back into the '80s for me. Like, and this is yeah. Like, I'm old, obviously, but yeah, no, man. Optimus Prime. Oh my god. Does he
he's
did he
so
come with a
cool.
trailer, or is it this model doesn't
No,
come
no,
with a
no. So
trailer? This.
the smaller one, the elite. This is the elite Optimus.
Mhm.
There is no trailer that attaches to this one. It's the flagship Optimus that does have a trailer. And the trailer, it looks very much like the '80s toy, and
Mhm.
it also self transforms. So it opens out into that
It
little base
it
station
opens
on
out.
its
Okay, yeah,
own.
yeah.
But it's that's a separate accessory to $1,000 standalone Optimus Prime. So the folks at Robosen hooked this up for me to kind of live out some childhood dreams. Like I wish I could go back in time and tell young me that a toy like this would eventually
Will
exist. But
eventually become a thing. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, there's like a whole app that goes with it. You can program and customize your own voice commands. You can just walk them around. Hold on, let me see. He might not do this very well on the desk, and I'm gonna try not to drop him off of this little student desk
Yeah,
that I
let's not
have.
do diving mode.
Hey, Optimus Prime,
Greetings.
move forward.
Let's go.
He walks like Osimo.
Oh yeah, I mean it's that kind of bipedal
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
robot.
yeah, yeah. No, no. The moment he articulate the way he set himself up and then kind of like the waddle walk, it reminded me a lot of the Honda Osimo robot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, what's
yeah.
impressive is like, from where we were back, I don't know if you remember Robosapien, like
Uh-huh.
10 years ago. All of the motors and servos are more articulated, but he's an Asimo that can turn into a truck.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it blows me away that the amount of detail that has gone into all of this is just crazy.
Is he drivable as a truck, as like an RC car kind of a thing, or
Yeah,
no?
I don't know. I can never measure on the desk
Oh no, no, you
how
don't. Yeah, yeah,
far
no,
out to
no need to
put them.
demonstrate that. But yeah, yeah, that one will probably just leap off.
Because
I was more
he's
so
gonna swivel
he'll
because
be
those are
facing
gonna
you.
flip up. So I think if I do
Yeah.
this, I'm gonna be here to catch him. Hey, Optimus Prime,
Greetings.
roll out.
Let's roll.
Ah, I
Nailed
almost
it.
measured it perfectly. Got it.
Nailed it. First time. Always.
Autobots never give up.
I love it.
Never give up.
I love
Okay.
it so much.
I
can take these off now.
am so happy for you. Also jealous at the same time. I'll be over for dinner tomorrow,
Man,
but that's not the point.
come on
Um,
down. I've got to finish a sponsored video. You can play with them all day.
absolutely.
I
We'll do
got
the
to show
show.
Lex, and she immediately like starts giving it commands. Like it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
even a question of if she's gonna try and play with it. It's like, oh, I saw Daddy give it a command. Hey, Optimus Prime, guard my room. She's like, and
Protection
what's
mode
hilarious
automatically.
is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is there was a guard voice action, so he really did something.
So,
It's just
okay,
another one of those
okay.
pre-programmed, like I must protect all sentient life kind of a thing,
But
and she
seriously though,
flips out. Like she
that
gave
dab
it
though.
an in the moment command. It was
Yeah, yeah,
awesome.
yeah. No, no, I know, but that one series. So when you left him long enough, he did the dab at the end. He's like, there.
Pay attention to me.
Me, yes, I am here. Optimus, transform. No, honestly, guys, I mean, you guys could see this. This is true excitement, which is, as you can imagine, it's like, it takes you back. It's just
Yeah.
that whole nostalgia factor, massive way because it's done right, right? There's a lot of toys. We have a lot of figures and die casts and different options and different ones that you get that obviously are closer or maybe authentic. As you saw,
Hmm.
one of yours was actually pretty big. And I can imagine that level of excitement 10 times more. And yeah, some of the things we have now, like if we can even remotely even tell our younger version of ourselves, like, hey man,
Right.
there's going to be exciting things in the world that you have no idea. Like,
You have no idea what's
smartphones,
coming.
games, portable TVs. The TVs are going to be thinner than anything. And
Well,
we have,
and this
you know,
one realizes a level of little kid nerdcore excitement. When
mhm.
the Armada series came out, there was all of this buzz, and I have it because I showed the little Armada Optimus. There was a
Yeah, yeah.
bigger Armada Optimus, and all of the toy nuts, at the time it was publications, like they were going crazy. There's going to be a self-transforming Optimus Prime for Armada, and I'm there. It's like a big release at a Target. I had to wait in line to get it. I get it home, and basically it's this really restricted Optimus Prime. Like his legs don't move at all, and his torso
Mhm.
just kind of unfolds a little. Um, well, it's not that his legs don't move; it's that they move in a really funky way. Um, and what it was is there was a little sensor in the Optimus that when you transformed him, it sent a signal to the trailer, and the trailer would unfold to be the base.
It
And like
basically, yeah, opens up. Yeah,
it just
exactly.
kind of clamshelled open, but it wasn't
Mhm.
a self-transforming Optimus
It's not what we
Prime.
think. Yeah, when we think of
It wasn't,
Transformers,
they sold it as this like amazing thing, and so then you would keep folding it open so that his legs would become arms,
Hmm.
and then the base would scoop up to become the legs, and then you would dock the little Optimus Prime. But the legs can't move because there are these thin sheets of plastic that have to roll up
Yeah, yeah.
to then form these sort of hollow legs, and they don't look like legs. They look like just these thin sheets of plastic
Oh
blocky
man,
columns.
it's like Gen
Never.
1, pre-Gen 1, beta testing transformation. Yeah, no, I know.
Right. And so like I have it, and it's in a bookshelf out in my hallway, and it's like, yeah, it's a part of my Optimus Prime collection, but that to me always felt like a bit of the letdown. Like this was really expensive. It was really really hyped up. This comes along, and it is a crazy piece of robotics engineering. It is not cheap, but for it not being cheap, it is not cheap. It is nice. And it really does
Yeah.
like what in my brain a self-transforming transformer should
Well,
do. And it's
because
just
this is a
gorgeous.
transformer, so I think that the biggest kick on this one is you're trying to represent a transforming robot that on the show or in the show transforms into more of an articulating robot. So you
Yeah.
are expecting in your brain that experience. And the Gen 1, I remember, yeah, it wasn't even the only one. I think there was a few other type of solutions where they were trying to get transformations done. And I think for the better or worse, they had to fit a price point, even though it was more expensive than usual back then. This type of technology may not have been something that they could have
Yeah,
worked with at the time. So this is really the limitation, but it's also appreciated when it's done right. Like it
for
has
sure.
to be done right, where you transform him, you talk to the Optimus, he's talking back to you, and then obviously Lex can just have him protect the room from all the bad guys, and everything will be good.
And
I'm
I'm
good with that.
just starting to kind of chip into the app where it's like you can do just really basic stuff
Yeah, yeah,
like on a
yeah.
Sphero you could say like drive forward, stop, transform. Like simple three commands, if then else statements, things like that. There's a whole extra side of it where you can go into the exact angle, degree, and
I love that.
placement of every servo on the
Ooh,
robot.
you can make him
So
dance.
if you want to make
You can
a
make him a
specific
TikTok star.
command.
Yeah, make him do all the dances on TikTok and just make that channel. Just start up a channel right now. Just call it Juan's Optimus Prime dances. That's it.
So
Quit
Michael
YouTube.
Corcoran's
Go.
asking, will it still work if it loses software support? The basics will. I mean, everything that I just did now did not require any additional app or anything. That's just what came pre-programmed.
Mhm.
I believe anything that you program into him will be saved and stored. I forget how much storage he has, but I want to
Okay.
say it's not a lot. It's like I want to say it's like 256 meg or something like that. But it's
Oh
enough
man,
for you to save these little like
but these commands are like, yeah,
macros.
we're
Yeah,
not
they're
talking like video
kilobytes of
files or yeah,
space.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
talking tiny, the tiniest ever so small. They don't need a lot of storage. Does it support external storage, maybe expansion, maybe like a
I
micro or
I
something?
don't think you can add storage, but you can access the storage. There is your geeks are gonna love this.
This.
There's a micro USB port to connect to the data, not a USB-C. Optimus Prime is Cybertronian technology, not current
Well,
human
he did, yeah, that
technology.
actually you have to keep in mind. He did land during the era of micro USB, so therefore he is
Sure,
classic. It's a classic, man. Come on.
I
At least they
guess.
didn't go to
Serial
the original.
ports.
Yeah. That would be nice. A ribbon running from the back of the
Ribbon
thing.
cable gets plugged.
A SCSI cable or something like that. Yeah, no.
Oh man, that's what would have
I
been authentic for
Oh
the
my
time.
God. I forgot what was it that I got. I just saw it that I opened up and it did have a micro USB port that drove me crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's uh yeah,
But
USB-C. Come on, USB-C. But yeah,
it would have been nice. But I'm
yeah, yeah.
hoping at some point I might try and tinker in just a little bit more. It would be really cool to like siphon off like every single Optimus Prime audio clip that I can get my hands on, and like see if I can add even more so that more like conversation type things can happen. I'm gonna see if I can dig in just a bit, but as it stands right now,
Yeah,
Robosen blew me away. Like
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like when something shows up and you weren't expecting it, that's just kind of an interesting or a nice surprise. Then it turns out to be
Like the best
this
thing
robot
ever.
Optimus Prime,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it really does what it should do. I mean, like it words fail me. If you catch
I
the little video clip, that is an honest reaction of me, like totally speechless, the first time I see it transform. because like I never really believed I'd ever get to see something like that in my lifetime. You
No,
know,
and
like
I've
it's
seen them
awesome.
before. But I just have seen like very few representations of them, and I haven't seen them in stores at all. So it's not like something you could absolutely run into. But seriously, to see you as excited on camera with this type of thing, it's like, you know, it's like
I
it's just
had
so
both
cute.
hands up on my face. It's
Yeah,
totally
yeah, yeah.
speechless. I had
No,
no words. And
exactly.
there's an Optimus Prime kind of like moving around on my desk. And again, I
You'll be
almost
like,
threw him off the table the first time I transformed him then too.
you're like transform. No,
Fling.
but yeah, no. Wait, I see Jeff hanging out with us as well.
Hey,
Simon,
what's
David
up, Jeff?
Burns in there. Jimmy Fire
TED
Dragon,
Talks
Hamid
Tech
as
is
well. Michael
chatting up
Corrigan
on
in
the
there as
Twitch.
well. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's staying, warm, or at least staying in if there's any kind of, because there's some, I guess some weird weather going on through. So basically, Texas area going eastwards. Um, in California, we're just running cold weather, but that's just because we don't know what cold weather is, and we're past the rain, which is not that bad. But I do want to kind of segue a little bit into some of the other things that kind of
Yeah.
went on. I know you've been playing a little bit more with the iQOO. We'll circle back on that
Mm-hmm.
as well. Um, one of my favorite devices or folding devices of 2021 was the Oppo Find N. This little
Mm-hmm.
gem of a device that for me got me the closest I can get to your Duo, but in a form
Yeah.
factor where the device is actually foldable. And what I mean is that the device, when the screen is open, it's actually a single piece, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
the Duo did a much better job of being more of an open all the way. You fold out, you have different
Sure.
implementation in there, and it's really more of a surface experience, I felt like. But the Duo inspired this. I really truly believe that I think Oppo took a look at the Duo and they're like, that's the right form factor, what they call a wallet-sized experience. Essentially, make the display on the outside a functional display and make the display on the inside at the right format, which is book style. It opens up, it's the right format, as opposed to what we always do with, and I say this in my video, on the Fold, I have to open it and then turn it. That extra move that we do every single time, where we have the crease going across the display, that pronounced crease that we get with foldables from Samsung, has been one of the biggest things. And of course, I got a call in the middle of my show because that's how we do it on Friday mornings.
That's the
Um,
way it goes.
that's how we do it.
I've
But
got a
luckily,
truck idling right outside my window. Oh, I should turn my noise removal back on.
did you call the gardener to tell him that the show's going up on Friday mornings now so that he can come early?
No, no. He's just. I think he just watches the show.
Yeah, no, no, no. At least he's well. At least that's the right thing to do. But what happened? Basically, literally yesterday morning, middle of the night for us here in the U.S. Obviously, it was launched the announcement. So Oppo just finally completed their Inno Day, or their Innovation Day that they typically do at the end of every year. They've had it for a few years, and during the announcements, they talked about a lot of new technology. One of them that actually I feel like you and I hopefully will get a chance to play with in the future is the Mari Silicon Y, which is their audio codec or their audio
Yeah.
coprocessor. So Oppo's starting to venture into audio co-processing, not just the NPU
Mm-hmm.
or the Mari Silicon X. And I love that. I love to see that. Obviously, the only thing I would say is that wasn't in here. So this is not part of that. But they did release and announce this one. This is the Oppo Find
Ooh.
N2. Thinner, stronger, faster charging, and of course, better camera optics on the back. They've improved the camera setup from last year and
Nice.
all across. Like we're talking 48 megapixel ultra wide. We've seen that maybe before somewhere. 50 megapixel
Mm-hmm.
camera on the main shooter, and obviously a really decent ultra wide on there as well. So I've had the opportunity to play with this for about a week now because I've had it. Obviously, I didn't just get the device yesterday. I have to appreciate what Oppo's doing. And I love what they're trying to do with the second generation. It is a somewhat more calculated upgrade from last year. So if you did end up picking up the N2 is a little bit of an upgrade. They went with the 8 Plus Gen 1, not the 8 Gen 2, and I think that's a good move. The 8 Plus Gen 1 and the 8 Gen 2 are so close that you actually probably save money on it from a manufacturing standpoint, because technically it's an older SKU,
Yeah.
but it is absolutely fun to be using a device that has that technology, the low power consumption, faster charging. We're up to 67 watts and 120 hertz on the front and on the inside panel,
Hey,
adaptive
there
on
you
the
go.
inside and more focus. And of course, Gorilla Glass Viscous on this. So I've been just really like blown away Seriously, like this, I did not expect that they would be releasing the successor to it this quickly, but it came and it showed up. They also talked about a flip. They're making their own flip phone now, the
Yeah, I
OPPO
saw
N2 Flip.
the sort
So
of not a
like
leak, but
there was
just sort of the
images, yeah,
tease, the
yeah, no, and
tease of
that's
it.
what it
That's
is.
cool.
There was a video of somebody holding the phone. I don't know if I saw another one that had somebody opening up. It's that display on the outside that looks like a small phone. That's what I'm excited about. I really want it to
Hmm.
be more functional so that I don't have to, which is one of what drives me crazy with the Z Flip. All the Z Flip series that they've released, it's a non-functional phone in this form factor. You can't do anything with it. You have to open it. And
Yeah,
that's the literally like, what's the purpose? I mean, for me, a foldable needs to be, I mean, I understand the clamshell, some people will love the form factor, but you put a case on
sure.
this. This thing is actually a pretty thick phone. This is
Yeah,
not thin when you put a
it's
case on it.
two panels of a phone
Yeah,
sandwiched.
it's shorter than the Fold, but it still makes a, and for the lack of, okay, so Aditya, if they comes in later, I'm not making a joke. It puts a, okay, you know what I mean.
A
If you put it in your
bulge.
pocket, yeah, that's what I was trying
There.
not to say the word in a consecutive sentence, because that's when Aditya literally jumps up and he's like, and that's what he's.
Bling!
But yeah, no. So
I've been activated.
I mean, it's like, yeah, I think Aditya sitting somewhere's like, wait, my name has been said. Um,
Hmm.
the I'll say this. I really appreciated they include a case, they include the charger, they include everything that you need in it. It is a China only device, so obviously there
Yeah.
are certain limitations. But you know what? I'm surprised. I'll say this: AT&T didn't block it. I was able to use it on AT&T, and it
Yet.
worked. Yet, that's what I said. I think it's because they just didn't know about it. They're like, we don't have
Right.
this on the whitelist. This guy put it on, put it in. Um, it runs, it does the job. Obviously, it suffers from AT&T slow speeds because that's just how AT&T advertises 5G.
In our neck of the
You know
woods,
that
it's been real bad.
it's just yeah. But I like
So,
it. I
but
like the fact of
the
what it
question
does.
that I have for you is especially now that you've been playing with it, and obviously I want everyone to go and catch your coverage on it
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
But
dropped an English and an Arabic video on both. Well, on it. Yeah, sorry,
but
both.
because I'm genuinely still not into foldables with bendy screens. I really do prefer dual display for multitasking.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How would you say Oppo's software evolution has gone? Because I feel like that's going to be the thing where a lot of people are going to get real pissy about, well, but Samsung and One UI and they can do this and that, and it's really easy to panel it. And are, I mean, are they benefiting from Android 13 or 12L improvements? Is that like kind of bridged the
The
gap between phone and tablet better? What's that looking like in just sort of a general sense? You don't have to deep dive it because I
No,
want
no,
people to watch your video.
no, absolutely. The biggest thing I will probably say is what we learned from what we saw last year with the N series. So both of these, the N and N2 have very similar form factors. It's the same for the most part aspect ratio, just physically lighter and slightly thinner because of certain changes that they did in there. Oppo decided to skip Android 12. They actually went from the 11, Android 11, with ColorOS 11. Even though they did call it ColorOS 12, it was still based on Android 11. And they went
Hmm.
straight into Android 13 with ColorOS 13, which is
Nice.
optimized of the 12L. So they waited for that. They realized that, there was no reason for them to upgrade at least the Chinese model. I know internationally, more devices did receive Android 12 with ColorOS 12.
Was
The
fine with a lot of
optimization,
companies that
yeah, yeah,
skipped 12.
you
It was
do it
such a,
right.
yeah.
You need to do it right and do the software that helps you provide the best experience on the device. And I think that's what they prioritized. They didn't want to jump into it and just start suffering with concerns and issues and hiccups and things. 12 had issues. 12 had concerns coming up when it came out of the door. We saw what happened last year. 12L was supposed to be what 12 was, and 13 lives obviously off of 12L. So I love that.
Yeah.
Gesture support, functionality, everything is smooth. It works really nice. The transition from the internal to the external display, multi-screen screenshots, multi-app lineup is so much more smoother and done right. And all of the benefit of ColorOS 13 are in here, with the exception, I will say, of Google-centric specific features,
Yeah.
meaning the assistant isn't in there. Google Play services out of the box are not installed, although they are in they're not blocked. Let's just say that it's super easy to get Google Play. You just download the APK. You don't even have to do anything on the system. And then nearby share, which was about the only thing that kind of got me when I started working, because I was shooting so much with it that I wanted to transfer the
Yeah.
files over. Um, Nearby
Bluetooth
shade
works,
doesn't
but
work.
man, it's slow.
It is slow, but so the saving grace for me at least is because I have the Find X5 Pro. I can use Oppo Share, which for all intents and purposes is Nearby Share, just branded under Oppo,
Yeah.
and it utilizes Wi-Fi, hotspot and Wi-Fi Direct. So I've been able to transfer my content off of it. I've been using LumaFusion on it. I installed CapCut on it. It's
So good,
fun.
right?
It's so much better. And I leveraging the cameras and the optics. I put out a picture of Omar on Tuesday. He had a concert, right? And so we were dressed up. He was going out and just looked really like the kids growing up. And that picture just came out so nice. It was a low light
Hmm.
picture. We had backlit behind him. We had some of the Christmas lights kind of hanging out, and the reflection of the lights with the glass behind him and his picture in the front just lit up so beautifully. And it's such a good portrait image. I was like surprised.
Hmm.
Obviously, the camera had to do a lot of heavy lifting in there to try to
Yeah.
expose for both of them and do a really good job in low light. So I appreciate what they're doing. They're leveraging 12L, they're leveraging 13, but we're still dealing with a little bit of delayed notification. This is it's a little bit more aggressive on the Chinese ROMs than it is on international ROMs. So you
Hmm.
you need to tinker a little bit with applications. Let whitelist them, take them out to get things a little bit better.
Yeah.
Instagram and Twitter do show up, but there is a little bit of a delay. So it's not that instantaneous. If you sent me a DM,
Sure.
I wouldn't get it right away. So, but again, it's meant for China. It's really not meant for international markets. We have to
Yeah, I've
remember
always,
we're
yeah, I always
adapting
felt
it.
it was kind of interesting that like, but it felt it's kind of interesting how other services that are not intended for the use of that region
Yeah.
get slowed down for notifications. It's just kind of interesting when you see region to region to region what those phones are really built to interact with. The
Yeah, yeah.
purchasing systems, the payment systems, the banking protocols, like all of those things get a lot more complicated than I think we ever fully like realize if you're just looking at it from the outside. It's again like picking up my Xiaomi is different than picking up my Xiaomi 12s Ultra, which is a Chinese only device,
Yeah.
is very different than picking up any of my international Xiaomi phones. Like
Exactly.
what you can tweak and what you can't.
And it feels so much more. I can see that like a very clear in front of me because I am holding it next to Find X5 Pro that's running Color
Hmm.
OS 13, and I can see
Oh yeah.
what's not there and what is there. I do appreciate that at least they let Oppo Share work, which it allows us to work, for
Yeah.
Chinese only and non-Chinese devices. The transfer is pretty instantaneous and it is very nice. And I do like using my Find X5 Pro. That's also the other phone that came out this year that has the Mari Silicon X as
Hmm.
the co-processor for image processing for Oppo devices. Obviously, the V2 on for iQOO and for Vivo is definitely one of the better options as well. But it's exciting. It's exciting to see this. So
Yeah.
I'm very happy with that. I and it's getting good feedback on it. A lot of people are happy to see the content. I am working on. I want to put it may end up coming up as I'm actually starting to put more editorial stuff out now.
Hmm.
Starting to use my site like I'm supposed to. I have TK Tech Base been sitting there for years, and it's had
Love
like
it.
yeah.
You
So
love
I'm
to see
starting to
it
post
though. I mean,
more.
again, isn't it
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
just to kind of write something out and be like,
Well,
okay,
because I think
and
there
now
are
I'm done.
some things need to be, may not necessarily need a full video, but you want to be able to put
Right.
something out. So I really want to start leveraging that. But I want to put something out between, like talking about the fold and the N2 and what the conversation needs to happen for next year. Realistically, when we talk about foldables, it's still in that experimental. I still feel like we're experimenting every time we come up with a new version. Um,
Hmm.
but I will say the technology that we've seen now is that there are emphasis on certain things that we really appreciate: good cameras, good
Yeah.
response rate, good mechanical like articulation when you're setting it up to use it in a tripod mode. Like you need to be able to set it up and take pictures with it, set it up upwards,
Right.
opening it up in a crease. Let's see here. So I wanted to show this. Of course,
Hey,
Goku
love
will
it.
always be every phone I can, and of course you can see like on this side, it looks really nice.
Looks good.
Great sound, great phone. Just yeah. So I'm excited
So
to
we're
see what
getting there, is
happens.
what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. We're getting closer as time goes on. Oh, last thing I wanted to talk. I don't
Yes.
have that. It supports a pen input. Oppo brought
Ugh.
in pen input to their foldables. They didn't send it to me. And the weird part of it is when we got all the paperwork and everything, no word of a pen. It's in the settings as usual, a la LG. If we have to kind of a little
Sure.
bit of an homage, never tells you anything, but it's there.
I know.
Doesn't support Wacom based. It supports a specific the OPPO
No.
pen. They don't have
Yeah.
it yet. I'm trying to reach out and see if I'm able to get them to send me at least a version. I'd love to see how that works.
Yeah, for sure. And
But they
also,
brought
like,
in pen input. Yeah.
if they're including pencil, has any other Oppo had stylus support? I
The
don't
only other
know
stylus
of.
that internationally, I don't know if it is, but I know that the OPPO Pad, their last tablet that they put
Oh,
out,
yeah, 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 yeah.
does support a pen input. It's a
That
separate
makes sense.
accessory that you needed to buy, but most of their devices, no. OPPO hasn't really ventured into pen stylus type of approach. And
Right.
what they did here was like, oh, by the way. So yeah, that's why I kind of titled it in my video, and I made sure to give. I asked the team I was working. I was like, hey, send me anything that shows the phone with a pen, because to say it's there, there's a stylus option inside of in the settings that nobody's talking
Doesn't
about.
help
Yeah,
visualize that. I
absolutely.
just
So
did that. And so I'm sending back. I sent back the
yeah,
MSI, and that MSI 17-inch creator laptop has stylus support. And it's on the Patreon now. You can see it. I did this terrible doodle of the Enterprise,
oh my
the
god.
original classic Trek Enterprise, on the laptop screen, which is really hard to do because it's a laptop screen. It's kind
Well,
of
because you have to
wobbling
kind
as
of
you're.
you have to kind of lean over and kind of go over the keyboard and so on. But
So
yeah,
so if
no.
you want to see my terrible artwork, you can see that on patreon.com/somegadgetguy.
Yeah,
But it is so much more functional on, again, the V60 is the phone that tilted my universe 3 degrees for
yeah.
signing contracts, getting documents done. Like, stylus support on a portable makes so much sense. So I'm really glad to see a couple, especially foldables. If you've got a tablet, it is a no-brainer that a significant workload function of a larger surface area would be going over documents, poking through spreadsheets. Like, that kind of stuff is so handy. So
Yeah.
if Oppo is bringing it, I'm really hoping that that's like setting the stage for other manufacturers to say, like, a foldable needs to be a crown jewel, all-in-one workhorse productivity device. We can't skimp on the content creation, we can't skimp on the accessories and the features, and we can't skimp on the horsepower.
Yeah. No, and I think that's what I'm excited to see, is because every other solution that we've seen on the market besides Samsung at this point has focused on the form factor a lot, but never really trying to bring in more of that functional productivity
Sure.
type of solution. So when I saw that,
I
anyways,
was
I
mad
reached
that it
back.
took Samsung so long. I mean, it was like, even Samsung was like,
Yeah,
this is
but
kind of a no-brainer, especially for the year that you didn't sell me a Note.
yeah,
You
and you gave
sold
us
me a fold. You couldn't even give me the stylus on that. So
it's one of those solutions that I really appreciate. So I think Oppo's definitely setting the bar up now for 2023. So hopefully we'll see. I mean, obviously, Honor announced that their Honor VS, the new series of their foldable, which they did say, by the way, during IFA, that they're going to be launching that into the international market in early 2023.
oh,
So there's a
nice.
potential Honor foldable that's going to be coming internationally. We know Xiaomi's obviously into the market as well, so we hopefully will see more of that. They just obviously
And
launched their Xiaomi 13 series, looks really nice. The 13 Pro, all of the different things. So
yeah,
we're like at the end of the year, but it's starting to come up. So hopefully we'll
I
hear
didn't
more
know
international stuff.
I didn't know the Honor was going to get an international. That's the one that I would maybe, because I don't have any word on another Duo, and I didn't have
Yeah.
to buy a Duo this year. That I would maybe consider trying to import the Honor just to see if they keep up with their excellent desktop mode.
Yeah,
So that,
EMUI desktop or
oh
Magic Duo. I think I'm
man,
sorry, I keep forgetting about that. So Honor
I'm telling
changed
you,
the UI.
2023 is going to be so good for these crazy enthusiast devices. Like,
Yeah,
the premium tier of this market is exploding like crazy right now.
Absolutely, and I think it's the focus. I think what I love about this, that Honor is starting to look, we could do this. We've done it before, second generation. We've learned from the first one. I think that's the right way to do it. Don't go. I mean, and we've seen it from other companies, Oppo, some of the other companies. They'll release their best version, the better version, an more experimental version in the Chinese market. They work on it, they
Yeah,
get it improved, and then it comes out. The 12S Ultra, as like you said, it's China
yeah,
only version. I'm hoping the 13 series. I'm hoping there'll be a 13 Ultra. There was no word of that yet.
yeah.
But if the 13 Ultra does exist, I would love for that hopefully to come out, because I still have my 11 Ultra. And
Yeah.
Jermaine, if you're still in the chat, he put out a video talking about Android 13 that pushed out to it, and we finally get the video preview screen on the back, which
Right
was,
on the back.
again, we were promised that at the beginning of the launch event with Android 11. But it's one of those things that you appreciate when
time.
you have it. Yeah. So I want to see what the Ultra does. And at some day, hopefully, when I'm able to pry it out of your fingers, if 13 doesn't happen, I'd love to be able to take the 12S Ultra for a spin just to see
Well,
what I'm missing.
let me see if I can get my hands on a Vivo X90,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you can borrow my Xiaomi 12S Ultra. Because I'm like you, like so much of my B-roll now has shifted over to phones. Even in my
Yeah.
office, if I need a quick clip of something, I'm not messing with mirrorless. The
setup,
image
the setup,
quality,
yeah, exactly. It's not worth it. You need to be productive. Time is money, and
and you
every
gotta go
second counts.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now it's like I absolutely need to have a 1-inch sensor phone handy to be able to get all of the clips the way that I like them and the way that I like them to look. And again, it's really close. Like the second shot that I just did of this Robosen
Mhm.
is a Panasonic with $1,000 lens, and if I could more easily do a video out from a phone, because I can't do video out from Xiaomi devices, it would have looked very similar to what my Panasonic shot would have looked like for that. I mean, it's crazy how capable these things have gotten. So I'm absolutely gonna get this 12S Ultra in your hands at some point, but
Hopefully,
man,
yeah.
like it's such a good camera, and if we get a few other players using this 1-inch sensor, it's gonna be big time for
And
smartphone
it
photography.
looks we knew there were going to be more. I'm just happy to see Vivo come out the door with that. Xiaomi and Vivo are doing really nice. Xiaomi taking in with Leica as a partnership
Yeah.
now, since they've already started working there. Oppo obviously is working Hasselblad. They brought that over. That was, sorry, the other thing I forgot to say. They brought Hasselblad over with Mari Silicon
nice.
X over to the Fine N2 series. So there's been more
That's cool.
optimizations on the camera. This is why the performance is so much nicer. But I want to see more. I want it, like I said, the X90 Pro Plus right now is really exciting me
I
because
would
it's
love to
just
see the Oppo attempt. So you would have Oppo with Hasselblad, a 1-inch sensor on a
Mhm.
Find, and pair that up with their own co-processor just to see, because it also seems like there is some co-competitive development happening
Oh,
under the
absolutely.
BBK
Yeah,
umbrella. Because
yeah.
Oppo and Vivo have very little to do with each other, but they are borrowing from similar parts. Then they're just adding their own sort of secret sauce to
Yeah.
their individual product lines. That to me
Absolutely.
would be one of the most exciting showdowns if we got an Oppo with an Oppo Ultra, a Find
Yeah,
Ultra or something like
exactly.
that.
Find X6, Find X6 Ultra or something to that effect. But yeah, no, I mean, the Find X, the Find X6 should be, or the 6 Pro series should be coming up pretty soon. It's like it typically comes out early in the year, so we'll have to see how that kind of comes up in January, February kind of thing. We know MWC obviously end of February.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm going to CES. I have not solidified my MWC. I submitted my application. I haven't heard back yet. I need to double check and make sure I got approved for MWC. But of all the things I did last year, I feel like MWC was the most productive for me. It
Mm-hmm.
was because obviously it's mobile, it's focused on that, but
Yeah.
all manufacturers showed up to the event. You had a representation from every single company that we work with all the time. OnePlus, Oppo, Xiaomi, Realme, what's it called, Vivo, and all of those. And I think those are for me the bread and butter of what we do, and meeting the tech that's coming out internationally also, which is a little bit more exciting than what we typically get here. So I'm really trying very hard to try to make it into MWC, even if it's for a couple of days, and even if it's not sponsored, because I'd like to. I felt like it was that much of a good.
Yeah.
It was much
It's a
more.
good hook.
Yeah, if I had to spend my own money, it would be the worth it for the money kind of a situation. And I'm trying to talk to some of my buddies that are going there, so maybe I can try to get a
Piggyback.
room, or piggyback on some of them if they're doing an Airbnb or something. Try to save some money because hotels are
It's like,
expensive. They're crazy.
hey man, can I sleep on your couch? I'll chip
Yeah,
you
man.
$50.
I promise you,
Thanks,
I'm not going
guys.
to be. Yeah, I won't make too much noise except when I'm making a live stream with Juan. But yeah, no. So we'll have to see. But yeah, so I'm excited to see how we're going to start off. HN2 is definitely doing the right job, I think, for me, which I wanted to kind of talk a little bit more as well, because you're doing more testing with that. Obviously, you're playing a little bit more. You have the iQOO. You actually have an HN2 in the house. Let's just say that. Let's start there. So The iQOO
Okay,
11 has been
so
a yeah.
here's the deal. I hate tech reviewers that act like, hey, a new thing came out, and so the thing that you bought 3 months ago is now garbage, and you should throw it away. I would like everybody in the chat to throw a hearty thumbs up and a congratulations. Dave Burns went through kind of a hellish situation, damaging his OnePlus 9 Pro, and finally came out the other side getting a replacement for his phone. And I just felt like, yeah, he likes his OnePlus 9 Pro. Like, what's the right phone to replace it with?
A one
Is
plus
a
nine.
OnePlus 9 Pro, you know, like if you like the phone. And
Yeah, yeah.
I always wanted, I'm trying to do a more direct job in these conversations. Obviously, when I'm shooting a more sort of staged video, it's going to be product focused. I'm not going to start off a video like, and don't buy new things, but here's why I think this new thing is cool.
Yeah.
But just the realism of what people live with can get lost on some of us tech reviewers. We're cycling through so many incredible toys, robot Optimus Primes and Steam Decks, and you know, my office looks like a Best Buy puked all over a small bedroom.
I would probably call it the best of Best Buy.
The best of
Into
Best
the
Buy
Best Buy. Yeah.
vomited
It's the best of the
aggressively.
best. Yeah.
So, but the rambling point that I'm trying to get to here is,
Yeah.
I've been digging into the Gen2 hard. It is fulfilling some of our expectations on performance per watt, and better thermals that
Yeah.
we've been having these conversations about since the Snapdragon 888. If you're on an 865, an 870, an 888, or some flavor of 8 Gen 1, you still have an incredibly monster overkill powerful device in your pocket right now. And if you're not leveraging that compute power to the to the tiers that we're talking about when TK and I do performance testing, then you're not really missing out. You're not really missing out on anything.
Yeah.
It's only when we start demonstrating some of these higher loads, higher compute power workload. We're talking about editing and rendering 4K video on
Of
our
course.
phones.
Yeah.
That is a heavy lifting scenario. If that is not what you're doing, an 865 is still grotesque overkill for average consumer daily driver tasks, whatever you might define those as being. For me, that's communication, social media, taking a couple nice photos, shooting some nice video. You can do that and do that really well on a Snapdragon 845 and feel and suffer no consequences, making that your sort of daily use machine. I'm now, you know, I'm starting to feel like a little like Gamers Nexus, right? We started getting
Yep.
the RTX 30 series GPUs, and he's like, yeah, here's like a 10% lift here, and here's like a 15% lift there, and power consumption went up, and all this and that, and no one cares because the most popular GPU is going to be like a 1650. You know, like the
Well, but yeah.
most used GPUs are going to be like a fraction of the price of this GPU. In fact, there are so many gamers out there that build their whole computer to play games on for less than the price of this GPU. So your
GPU.
performance per dollar is kind of lopsided when you talk about stuff like that.
Yeah. We've been going through
So
that type of generation for a while now.
we're here with
GPUs.
phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're totally here with phones. What the 8 Gen 2 can do is very impressive. If you're not using it, there's no point. There's
Yeah.
really no point in agonizing over not having it. If you're playing graphics intense games, I hate battle royale and shooters. I do not like playing them in general now.
Okay,
But
on
I
that note.
really hate playing them on phones. I fired up Apex
Okay.
and I go into the settings and I just max everything out. You just everything ultra highest tier frame rate, ridiculous draw
Whatever the
distance,
system lets you say
VSync,
high, just go
everything,
boop, 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 boop. Yeah.
every check mark. I go into the drop, and at its farthest drop distance, where it does that transition, because you're doing the little skydiving thing as you're flying into your map, right?
Exactly.
There's that one little hitch of a transition where it's just the animation of you skydiving, and then it really drops you into the map. It's a transition. It's a loading screen. That dipped to like 40 frames per second. I hit the ground, And unless I'm doing stupid, just spinning around in a circle for no good reason, it's like pinned at 60. Apex, all of the eye candy on a phone with other players on the map is hitting 60 frames per second.
I love
This
it. Yeah.
is insane. So there is still a bit of that BBK performance management where it's not pinning 120 at the full refresh rate of the screen for older games, but this is the first phone I've ever played with that could handle sort of that intro map sequence on Bright Ridge.
Hmm.
If you don't know what Bright Ridge is, it is a really old Android fantasy exploration. It's barely a game. It's more a visual novel where you go around this wooded forest area with creatures and watch things happen and you jump and dodge and
Yeah.
it's got a little bit of a kind of a Legend of Zelda feel, but it's not a combat action game. They came out with another one that's even more intense, but for its time, this was the crisis of Android games because you could
Yeah.
go in and just like a PC, dial up all of your quality settings. This is the first phone that can hang near 60 frames per second in Bright Ridge with all of the eye candy maxed out. Again, it took us like 10 years. I think Bright Ridge might be almost 10 years old. I was
Wow.
covering it back at Pocket Now just as like a benchmark because it was the only thing that like would really tax
Tax the
GPUs and
system.
give you a frame per second ticker.
Yeah.
So that level of performance is now very encouraging. Even an 8 Plus Gen 1 dips quite a bit more when you're running around on Bright Ridge. So this is an incredible step up. I mean, from where we were at the beginning of the 8 Gen 1 to where we are now with the 8 Gen 2,
Yeah.
generationally, not the 8 Plus Gen 1, but the 8 Gen 1 to the 8 Gen 2.
Hmm.
We've got a more reasonable upper limit. Power draw seems to be reined in probably to the tune of around 30%.
Hmm.
So an 8 Gen 1 can still get this work done, but it's going to get this work done at almost 10 watts. The 8
It's a
Gen
yeah.
2 is getting similar work done at like 6 watts.
Yeah.
So you're like, that is a very nice advantage. If you have a phone with an 8 Gen 1, you're really not that far behind. But you will run warmer, which can mean more thermal throttling, and it will
Hmm.
eat your battery a little quicker. So
Yeah.
those are those concerns. Like you still kind of have most of this performance. You can still kind of do most of these tasks in very similar windows. The 8 Gen 2 is really it will be a little bit faster, but it's really better behaved.
Yeah.
It's getting the similar workloads done a little bit faster and then with just a little bit less battery draw, running just a little bit cooler. It's all of the things that we kind of wanted all in one generation from the A88. And that
Yeah.
never happened with the A88 or the A88 Plus. It really didn't happen with the Samsung 8 Gen 1.
It's one.
And then
Yeah.
we got a little taste of it with the 8 Plus. The 8 Plus is in that continuity of getting better. The 8 Gen 2 finally feels like the real SoC that Qualcomm should have put out 2 years ago,
I was
but
about
it's here
yeah.
now.
Exactly. It's a growing it's a growing effect, but no, it is a growing case of improvements over time, but also realizing that TSMC the process that TSMC is using definitely shows this
More
benefit.
mature.
We're more
Yeah.
mature and definitely we're banking on that, and that's why I'm like saying if you're in an 8 plus Gen 1 going in with like with the Find N2 or even I don't know why. Okay, I have it here somewhere. The ROG Phone 6 is running the 8 Plus Gen 1.
Yeah.
And it definitely, we get what's it called? 90 frames per second gaming on PUBG native. The system
Yeah.
supports it. We get Call of Duty running it at I think it's like 120 or 90 frames. It's still
Hmm.
like crazy. Playing games at a high refresh rate with all the eye candy on are
It's
absolutely,
real
yeah,
nice.
in playing Immortals on it is absolutely beautiful. The smoothness of the graphic, the gameplay. So all of these for me,
Yeah.
I'm excited for them specifically because mobile gaming is moving so much more, is doing so much more. Like I really I appreciate it. Let's just say that. So I'm happy to see that you're doing more of the testing, and we'll see. I mean, I'm sure we're going to see
Yeah.
more Gen 2s come out, and more devices
Well,
give us that different flavor, like BBK's
and that's
one. Yeah.
that's going to be one of the interesting kind of tweaks. I also feel like manufacturers, we've had this conversation before. The
Mhm.
iQOO really helps illustrate it,
Yeah.
where we had a bunch of manufacturers build phones with the 8 Gen 1 that were inadequately built for the 8 Gen 1. I feel like the darkest mark on Android last year was the Galaxy S22.
Yeah.
Samsung went cheap on that phone to the tune of a class action lawsuit in South Korea for how bad the performance on that phone was. They built the phone trying to handle it more like a Snapdragon 855, and it really needed better cooling. And you got it in the Ultra. The Note 22 was a
Hmm.
monster. That thing performs like a champ. The S22 is hot garbage. And it felt like we needed 2 years of manufacturers struggling with the more mainstream versions of these phones.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't on the Pros or the Ultras. The Pros and the Ultras are built to a higher tier with nicer components. It's one of the reasons why you spend more on those products.
Well.
But just dumping the same chip
Mhm.
into an inadequately constructed phone was a recipe for disaster.
Well,
And
I
so
think it was
now,
in their mind, they were trying to actually make you go for the plus. I honestly really felt like the S22,
oh, but the Plus, I mean,
the
but the Plus was just as bad. The
no,
Plus
no,
was
that's what
just
I'm
as
trying to say.
bad, but just had a bigger battery.
It's a
But
step,
yeah,
it's a stepping process. They're like, yeah, you can get this at a more affordable price point, but then you start seeing the compromises that they did, the things they took
yeah.
away from earlier generations, and then you see what they're trying to do. They're trying to edge you over to the higher end, and
So
that's not what people
th-
are going. Yeah.
I don't think. Again, I'm being a little diplomatic here, where I probably don't need to be, or I'm being a little too precious.
Yeah.
Um, I don't, because I don't think Samsung is this one guy who makes all these decisions for this multi-billion-dollar organization. It's not Mr. Samsung who's
Hmm.
decided to. What I'll
No, I'm
do
with
is
you.
I'll make the Galaxy S22 garbage so that people will want to buy the S22 Ultra. I think they had a very expectation that their marketing and their momentum would just carry them through sort of a mediocre phone. I think they really did expect to sell a lot more because they were gonna work hard on pricing. There were gonna be a bunch of trade-in offers. Look at this exciting new camera tech. They did improve the camera capabilities on the S22,
Hmm.
but then they cheaped out. So they let a bunch of bean counters get in there and say, hey, if we whittle back on this, or what about graphite, or what if we just, we don't put in like a some sort of vapor cooling or something like that. Well, the phones will run warmer, but you know what? Our software engineers can come up with a game optimization service that'll just throttle everything down, and people won't even notice.
Yeah. No.
That's to me the cynical part of this is I think they really were expecting to sell a ton more Galaxy S22s based on some of these big marketing bullet points. But
Hmm.
this also came at the time that they severely slashed their marketing budget. They went from like $12 billion a year in marketing to like 3. And that's still an insane amount of marketing, but they are not saturating all of those retail channels like they used to.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
And people have never been less impressed with their premium products. And so it was just like the perfect storm of mediocre phone, not a lot of messaging, and even the lower tier Galaxy A series ended up sitting on shelves. Like they couldn't move them in the first half of 2022, where the year before it was the A series that totally saved Samsung's
It
ass.
was a
So I'm sorry.
compromise. The decisions they
That's
did, it was,
that's
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
but every single cynical corporate decision that you could make, I think, resulted in a
Hmm.
recipe for
They saw the
disaster for
response.
this
Yeah, exactly.
one flavor of the phone. That's a really long prelude to get into. I was very concerned getting an iQOO 11 because the iQOO 11 Pro is
Hmm.
Chinese only, and my
Okay.
relationship with iQOO and with Vivo is their international models. I was worried that what we would get was the less well constructed phone, and that 8 Gen 2 really wouldn't be able to shine.
Hmm.
And instead, what I see from Vivo is a company that, even though this isn't the most expensive flavor of their phone, it is still built internally very similarly to the Pro.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like we're sacrificing any of that performance for saving a little cash. Where we drop down a tier is the less expensive manufacturing for the curved display, because that
Hmm.
costs more money to bend all that glass.
Of course.
You still have the same screen resolution though. It's still the same panel, it's just not curved at the sides. That's a huge win for people who like flat front face phones. And then you also do step down on some of the camera quality. So
Yeah.
the
No,
ultra
no.
wide
It's
is
the
not as
11.
nice. The telephoto is not as nice, and the fingerprint sensor is good, but it's not as nice as an iQOO Pro or a Vivo Pro.
Oh, no,
So
absolutely.
those
Yeah.
little lifestyle compromises, I feel, are totally adequate. You're not selling me an 8 Gen 2 and then restricting the performance. You're not telling me you have the bestest chip that Qualcomm can make, but we've made it so hot that it can't run at full speed. And that's what Samsung did to us. They said, hey, the best 4 nanometer chip that you can get. And look, S22 Ultra sets all these benchmarks and sets all these records. And then you think, oh, okay, well, that's an S22. I can buy an S22. And then you get an S22 and it's hot garbage. Literally hot and runs
Garbage.
like garbage.
Yeah.
Vivo didn't do that, and so I've got to throw the thumbs up there. I in my video, it was so nice going from the iQOO 9 Pro to the iQOO 9T, which got the 8 Plus Gen 1, and then into the iQOO 11 with the 8 Gen 2. Very similar phones, very similar construction, almost identical software features, all running Android 13, all running
Hmm.
FunTouch. It's as close as you can get to a processor swap, right? It's
Yeah.
not like I'm comparing a Xiaomi to a Samsung to an iQOO. It's I'm comparing three generations of iQOO as close as I can possibly get to comparing the same phone components. And you can literally see and track. This
Yeah.
chip was actually really good at doing RAR compression. This chip actually was really bad at doing a podcast mixdown. This chip crushed for video editing. It's never as simple as, new phone is better and across the board everything just gets faster. It was, man, these little things, these little nuances and these little tweaks and changes matter a lot to the app
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
developers that are making the services on the phone. So
And
that's
I
just the
think that.
last bit. I was really happy to see the phone is built to handle this chip, not we put a hot chip in there and it's inadequately cooled.
And I do appreciate the fact that they did that. At least, like you said, internationally, that's going to be the 11. The 11 is going to be internationally. The 11 Pro will be more into the China markets, but we never know. There may be a Pro Plus, or maybe an additional version of it, or another. Maybe the 12 will come out with the Pro. Um,
Yeah,
iQOO and
iQOO's
Vivo have
numbering
been.
is very
Well, yeah, especially for like
confusing at
international
times.
versus Chinese, because they did the same
Yeah,
thing. I think with the 10 and the
there's no
11.
10 internationally.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, we know, no, but I think the biggest thing I would probably say at this point is as a beginning, as a prelude to the conversation of 2023 with the Gen 2, because this is going to carry us for the majority of next year. Uh, it's going to be going against, obviously the Tensor 2. It's going in, whenever we get other contenders, but like definitely like the 9200, the Dimensity 9200 that I'm really excited to
Yeah.
see the devices that are going to support it. I'm hoping Oppo still goes with the dual Oppo, the Find X,
Hmm.
where we'll have a Find X6 with the Dimensity and with a Snapdragon. We'll have to see, because they did that this year. I'm
Yeah.
hoping they continue. So BBK
Here's
seems like where it's at so far, but I know Xiaomi will
yeah.
obviously be throwing their gloves in the ring as well very soon in the international market, as the Xiaomi 13 series just literally got launched, and I know they
Yeah.
usually wait about a month or so, and we'll hear about it. I like probably post CES, but before MWC. Like I'm sure it'll
My
be
outside
somewhere
hope,
around
and
there.
I seriously doubt they're going to do it.
Hmm.
But out of all of the companies, because again, we are also seeing sort of the whittling down of the companies that are legit shipping to the United States.
Yeah.
Um, I would I would love to see Lenovo take Motorola, throw a MediaTek in there. Now that MediaTek is they've been sprucing up their 5G radios,
Hmm.
and put like the Edge Plus, whatever next gen Edge Plus, run that with that 9200 and see that come to the United States. It's probably not going to ever happen like that, but it's the only company I can think of that could take a gamble
Hmm.
on MediaTek and still ship a product to the United States. because Oppo and OnePlus, they're not going to mess around with alternate SKUs for
Well,
the
yeah, and
USA.
OnePlus, I think if 2022 kind of ever taught us, we got a 9, sorry, a 10 Pro and a 10T. There was no standard 10, and we
Nope.
got that split launch. So we don't, but it's also been kind of consistent of not being consistent with OnePlus for the last few years of how their release
Yeah.
cycle. Because the year before they did 11 and sorry, they did 9 and 9 Pro, but they didn't do a 9T. So this year they changed. I'm hoping they stick to it. I actually like the Pro and the T series. Really not much to to talk about the standard end, but you're able to, because it reduces the price of the Pro, right? The Pro becomes a little bit more affordable if there's no competition at the
Yeah.
lower end. The entry level for $899 at the time was the right thing to do for that price point, and then later we got additional options. But we'll
Hmm.
have to see. Yeah, we have to kind of see what Motorola does, especially with Lenovo with Motorola, because they would be able to totally rock like like a 9,000 plus or 9,200 or 8,200
I'm
even.
I'm just
Yep.
worried that the Edge Plus, they actually did try to give it a little bit of a nudge. Like they were
Hmm.
reaching out to reviewers and influencers. They had a partnership with Verizon to get a UW model out the door,
Yeah,
and
I
it
think that's the
doesn't
one
really seem like it performed because that's the one I have. I have the
yeah, yeah.
UW.
Yeah, I
It
think we all
doesn't
got the
really seem,
same unit, but yeah.
yeah, the reviewer kit.
Hmm.
It doesn't seem to have performed that well in for a one-off year of sales, and then when it was time to release the Edge Ultra, whatever, I forget, X30
Hmm.
Ultra, was that what it was called? We didn't get a flavor of it here in the United States. They are just increasingly, we didn't even get a new Razor flip
Yeah,
phone
we
here
got
in the United States.
it's
So it's looking
it's
real dire for the United States smartphone market
good.
when not
They
only are
realize
we
where the
late,
purchasing power. Yeah, exactly. They're realizing
yeah,
sales are. I mean, for one thing, I will say is I appreciate the fact that is that OnePlus is in stores. Like it's actually
yeah,
able to provide us that experience.
yeah,
I'm hoping that we see more of the Oppo experience come up through this, and we get more Oppo content from them. I think Nord, and I think they released a Nord not that long recently
right.
on T-Mobile, but it's a carrier version of a phone now. Um, but I kind of want to see what they do with the next generation, the 11 Pro, the whatever they do
Yeah,
with,
no,
if they do the 11T too.
I
Yeah.
think we'll see again a good, especially after seeing this new Oxygen OS update. But really, what I'm saying is, I can't see any other avenue for MediaTek to deliver premium in the United States.
That's true.
I don't think
It will literally be, yeah,
any
Motorola
other
and
company will do it. I don't
may
think Samsung is gonna do
uh,
MediaTek.
no, I
I
don't think
don't
Samsung
think.
would. Yeah, it's weird. It's like
Yeah,
it's Moto or even at the weird situation, but it'd be probably not Oppo, like OnePlus and the Nord side or something.
and
We
because of our
have
carrier
MediaTek
market,
processor. Yeah. Hmm.
but because of our carrier market, I don't even think gaming phones will play with
The
an
6D, yeah,
alternative
the
SKU.
yeah.
Yeah. So
The
Red
ROG
Magic,
Phone
they're gonna
6D, I think that we got a chance to see for 2 seconds
right.
at the summit. That's an international variant, not a US variant. We can't get
Yeah.
it here. Yeah,
So
it's
the only company I think that would have the kind of manufacturing and the ability to say, hey, we want to build a high performance phone. Can you cut us a good deal on these chips? MediaTek could come in sort of as a price aggressive
mhm.
component supplier against Qualcomm. They've been sprucing up their 5G radio tech. I think the only company that would make a play on that might be Motorola. But even then, I think that's like a 1,000 to 1 Vegas odds long shot that we'd get it here. If anything, I bet you'll see over 2023 mostly a mid-ranger and entry-level strategy from Motorola, and then
Mhm.
maybe in 2024 we'll get another leapfrog of whatever's newest and hottest and bestest for a premium Edge Plus here in the United States.
We'll have to see. And I think the biggest thing I'm also hoping to see more is like the 1080 series or the 1200. The other mid range. I mean, MediaTek is in the US market in certain
No,
aspects
it's
of it,
they're
but
heavy
they're
in the
more,
U.S. market
yeah,
for
but they're more
mid-rangers
in
and
the
entry
budget.
level.
Yeah, mid ranger and budget
I can't
again.
see any avenue for them to crack premium tier, and that's where the 9200 is really going to be an exciting add to this conversation, is
Yeah.
because it's not just Qualcomm versus Tensor, it's Qualcomm versus MediaTek versus Tensor, and so many people. We never really got the chance to play with the 9000, and the 9000 was going toe to toe with like Apple A15s for performance per watt.
Hmm.
Like all of this pretend unlabeled bar graph Apple Silicon superiority was not true. The Dimensity was right in the thick of it, like
Yeah, yeah.
was toe to toe, and the 8 Plus Gen 1 from Qualcomm kind of caught up. So we ended the year with three chips, Apple, MediaTek, and Qualcomm, really close in terms of real world practical, run an app kind of performance metrics. And
Hmm.
the 8 Gen 2 is even better than the 8 Plus Gen 1. So I would wholly expect to see that we're going to get that performance uptick. Like, this could be a year where application dependent, we can see clear victories for Qualcomm and MediaTek over A16s.
I hope so, and I think that's one of the biggest things that we always. Oh, I mean, a lot of people always ask, is like, is it better than the A15? Is it better than the Apple Silicon? I'm like, okay, if you can find me a phone that can run both operating systems on the same silicon, then we can do a
Right.
comparison. But if you want an
A
Apple phone,
true oranges to
yeah,
oranges comparison, right?
exactly. Don't give me the it runs on their own hardware, optimized for their software. It's like saying, does Google run their services great on Pixel? Absolutely. It's their phone. They designed it for this hardware. It's in-house. The same thing that Apple does. That one of the reasons why I use the 7 Pro as my main daily driver. It's for the Google services and the functionalities that this device does. It does it absolutely fantastic. The auto transcribing of my text, of my voice messages directly in the dialer, again built into the
Yeah.
Google thing. Automation, hold for me, call for me, all of those little
Right.
things that I love utilizing the assistant for is optimized for this. It does the same thing. So we'll have to see how things go. I think my biggest thing at this point, obviously, is again, we're still early in the conversation. We have two of the three players that
Right.
are starting to show up with devices. And I want to see the first 9200. I haven't heard of one yet,
Yeah.
specifically like we're able to get our hands
I know
on.
Vivo's going to be first. I
It
just don't know
absolutely,
what phone it's going to make
I
it
know, I
into.
know. Vivo taking it in, man.
I is
It's
I think
Vivo's year this year. I feel like, yeah,
it'll be probably because you've got the X90 Pro Plus. It'll
that's
probably end up
true.
being an X90 Pro. I bet you
Which I would no,
9200
absolutely.
will be in that.
I think that'll be good. Yeah, yeah. Maybe make that as the international variant of that. I hope actually they bring the X90 Pro Plus to internationally. Like for me, I feel like if you're going
I'll be
to
very
shine,
surprised if they don't. Yeah.
yeah, at some point maybe we'll see a variant of that. So with that being said, I do want to say, hey, Aditya came in. Hope you're doing well, man.
Hey,
Yeah, this
we were
is
talking about you.
hanging out with TK. Yeah, it's cold, Aditya. This is literally the reason why you're seeing me dressed like this. I am freezing. No, it's getting a little bit warmer. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the sun is up, but we've been running through a cold stint a little bit. Yeah, no, like right there. Yeah, and of
Ah,
course, Rode. Rode. I feel like I'm sponsored by Rode, but I'm not really. So I needed a beanie. I like the beanie.
I, I'll just join you with my little clip-on mic,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
but also
absolutely.
not
Yeah.
sponsored by
Not
Rode.
sponsored
So
by Rode. No, thank you. Um, so I will say this also. Oh, so I know you're also planning something special this weekend, if I'm not mistaken, a certain thing on the Patreon with some of the
yeah,
friends. Yeah.
tonight actually,
Oh,
Friday, this Friday. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
we're doing a movie watch along, and right now the vote is pretty close. I think Die Hard is taking the lead as the Christmas movie we're all going to watch together because Die Hard is
It
one of the
is.
greatest Christmas movies of all time.
I love
It's
how he
not
looks you
just a
straight
movie
in
set
the eyes.
as
Yeah, he makes that
Christmas.
eye contact and makes sure to deliver.
It
Yeah.
is genuinely and
Yeah.
without irony and without satire, I am saying it is one of the greatest holiday films that's ever been made.
Absolutely.
So the Die Hard's taking the vote, but it's really close. Hold on, I've got the
What?
tally right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Trading Places and Scrooged are right on its heels. So if you're on the Patreon, patreon.com/somegadgetguy, at around probably 8:30ish, 8 o'clock Pacific time, somewhere in there. We're gonna fire up. We're all gonna watch the movie together. We'll hang out in a Discord chat, and we'll jam some a holiday film together and have a good time. So
I
hopefully,
think
if you're there,
it'll be a
if
lot
you're
of
a
fun. Yeah.
part of the club, I hope to see you there. And you still have time to influence the vote. Like, I'm gonna run right up until we push play, and that's the movie we're gonna go with. So there's still room.
No,
I
I
mean,
know,
like
I know.
Home Alone would take 2 votes to get Home Alone like back up into contention. You
I
know,
think
like,
Home. Okay,
r-
so I'll say this as a classic diehard Home Alone.
mhm.
Those are typically Elf for me. Also, kind of plays a big part. I just like Elf as a movie just for the sheer, just the fun
Yeah,
part
because
about it.
it's
It-
hilarious.
It's
Yeah,
a hilarious movie, but it's also kind of like it's an interesting approach to Christmas, kind of a story. Being a child that was basically raised by elves and then suddenly goes find his dad. But
right.
anyway, long story short, if you're not part of the Patreon, if you're listening to this, obviously you can definitely check it out. The links for that will be in the show notes as well as in the description for us here.
Hmm.
For me, I'm actually kind of you kind of hinted at a little bit working on a couple of videos. I do have a video that I need to kind of a sponsored video that I need to kind of
Same.
go through some massive corrections today. That I got back. I got a long list of things that I need to do.
Right.
And then just kind of keeping work. I want to do a little bit more of it. Like I said, work on a fold versus an N2 for early next
Yeah.
week. I pushed out my 7 Pro review, so that took me a while to kind of put my thoughts
Yeah.
around that. But I'm happy I got a chance to push that out, and that's also getting a good response on the channel. So with that being said, we are. I don't think you're traveling next week, are you? Or am I? I'm not traveling anywhere. I think we'll
No,
be.
I'm
We'll
I'm
be.
staying put.
I
Yeah.
gotta fix this. This thing looks weird. Like it keeps doing this, like or that. Like I
It's
look, I'm
it's at
doing
a
like
rakish angle.
yeah, like
Hmm.
The Rock. No.
Hmm.
Speaking of which, actually, Black Adam is out on HBO Max today. I
Weird.
was like, hey, I don't have to pay to watch that. No, I mean I do, but not
I
like
wasn't
directly.
going to.
I was like, yeah, no. But yeah, so hope you guys are doing great. Let me know. Obviously, let us know in the comments below. What do you guys think of this new time slot? We are looking into trying to do some optimizations and so on, working together, trying to get this thing moving on for next year. And I think you and I need to talk a little bit more too, still. So
Yeah.
be safe, stay safe. I hope you're enjoying your tech. Do more and do well with your tech as much as you can. And we'll try to do our best to help the narrative and share our stories and our experiences as best as we can. On Twitter for a very short time because apparently it's going down the tubes as every single day. But it's like, no, it's just
Are you
really
on
like
Mastodon yet? I'm on Mastodon.
I'm on Mastodon, but I don't think I'm on the same server as you are. So I don't. Maybe
Well,
let me
it
know which
doesn't
one you're
matter.
on.
Just let me know what your handle is
Oh,
at
TK
TKDS.
tkbay. I actually got
Oh,
tkbay. That was the easiest way for me to kind of like because on. So I'll say this.
what's
There's
your server? At
uh,
TKBay at
I got to hold on. Let me open up Mastodon. So here we are. Oh, I actually
because
have it
I'm
on the other
I'm
phone.
at
Dang.
some gadget guy at techhub.social.
Okay, I gotta find. Let me find the other phone. I switched over and I didn't because I don't use Mastodon as much. I didn't put it on this, so I'll have to. I'll DM you the server and the link on that one. But yeah,
What a
for sure.
techie noob. It's like you don't even know Mastodon. Whatever, dude. Whatever,
No, I know, I know.
bro.
I
Do
need
you
to be
even
more active.
Mastodon, bro?
Yeah, I do. Oh my god, I really don't want to answer that question right now because I like Aditya's in the chat. No, anyway, either one. Um, we'll make sure to keep a conversation kind of going. Links will be in the description as usual. The audio podcast hopefully will be coming out within the next day or so. Let us know what you guys think, what you'd love to hear from us more, and of course, as always, we'll see you next week for another episode of the Best of Our Week. Bye bye for now.